ruin has come to our family. You remember our venerable house? Opulent and imperial, gazing proudly from its stoic perch above the moor. I lived all my years in that ancient, rumor-shadowed manor, fattened by decadence and luxury. And yet I began to tire of conventional extravagance. Singular, unsettling tales suggested the mansion itself was a gateway to some fabulous and unnameable power. With relic and ritual, I bent every effort towards the excavation and recovery of those long-buried secrets, exhausting what remained of our family fortune on swarthy workmen and sturdy shovels. At last, in the salt-soaked crags beneath the lowest foundations, we unearthed that damnable portal antediluvian evil. Our every step unsettled the ancient earth. But we were in a realm of death and madness. In the end, I alone fled laughing and wailing through those blackened arcades of antiquity, until consciousness failed me. You remember our venerable house, opulent and imperial. It is a festering abomination. I beg you, return home, claim your birthright, and deliver our family from the ravenous, clutching shadows of the darkest dungeon.
The Darkest Dungeon. Hey everyone, welcome to the Darkest Dungeon. As this text says here, Darkest Dungeon is about making the most of a bad situation, and there will be plenty of bad situations. Quests will fail and must be abandoned, heroes will die, and when they die, they stay dead. That's pretty much the credo of Darkest Dungeon. It's like a, what do the kids call it nowadays? Roguelite? It's like a sort of team squad-based tactics RPG thingy. It's quite cool. And also, what I like the most about it is that it's absolutely gorgeous. I think that's because the art was made by Clay. I don't think it was dealt by Clay. I think it's dealt by Red Hook, or Red Hooks, or something like that. But they do have special thanks to Clay. And Clay are quite known for their aesthetic, and this looks sort of like it. I think that is going on with it. Either way, it's gorgeous. So, why don't we start a campaign, yeah? Right, so since last time I played this, I actually did play this on stream, and we didn't get that far, which is why I'm just considering starting over. And back then, the DLC wasn't actually out yet, but now it is, and I'm still considering to play without the DLC, just because I never finished the vanilla content, ever. And I always meant to, but I never got around to it. But this time, this is the run. Today, not today, but like from now is when we actually finish this. And we'll enable the Crimson Court late, I think, for like a second run or something, I don't know. It also apparently makes the game a lot harder having the Crimson Court stuff on, especially if you don't really know what you're doing and you're just really acclimated to the game. So I think it behooves me to actually keep it off for now. We can keep the districts and the flagellant on because it doesn't necessarily affect the balance too much. Flagellant does, kinda, because it's another class. But it's only like one another character. It's not that bad, you know? I heard it's quite OP, or at least was quite OP on launch, but it's just one more character, right? And it gives us one more variety to have in the character roster. So I think we should keep it on. And it'll let us get used to the character for when we do the expansion anyway, right? So when the game first shipped, it shipped with just one difficulty, the darkest difficulty. And then it later came out with Stygian, which is like a hard mode thing. I think it's really unfair, so I'm not gonna play that. I'm not entirely sure what does, but I think it's like the hardcore mode where you only lose a certain amount of heroes before your game is locked and you can't progress anymore. I think it says something like that below there, yeah. Also, many gameplay settings are locked, so that doesn't seem very fun for a first playthrough. And Radiant, on the other hand, is like the easy mode, but it isn't really a traditional easy mode. I think it's about as hard. Like the balance is the same, except there's a lot less grinding for materials, I think. But I think we just play on Darkest, just to get the original experience. Campaign. We shall enter the dentist state. Why not? Why not? I think that's perfect. Ah, these cutscenes are fucking gorgeous. They are so good.
You will arrive along the old road. It winds with a troubling serpent-like suggestion through the corrupted countryside, leading only, I fear, to ever more tenebrous places. There is a sickness in the ancient pitted cobbles of the old road, and on its writhing path you will face viciousness, violence, and perhaps other damnably transcendent terrors. So steel yourself, and remember there can be no bravery without madness. The old road will take you to hell, but in that gaping abyss, we will find our redemption.
Ah, the art style was just so good at conveying everything just being quiet, like grody and horrific. It's great, it's so good. So unfortunately our stagecoach gets dilapidated on the way, but it does offer us a nice opportunity to have a little DLC, right? Not DLC, tutorial. Very different. And this is our first crew. We always start with the Reynald, the Crusader, and the Dispus, the Highwayman, who are two quite different characters.
Brigands have run up these lanes. Keep to the side path. The hamlet is just ahead.
I love the narration. So, Reynald is the Crusader, who's got quite melee-centric abilities, and also some supportive ones. And Dispus, the Highwayman, has got some bleeds, he's got some pistol shots, he's got some AoE, that sort of thing. It's quite good.
Confidence
But his characters are quite good.
enemy crumbles.
I don't think there's a character actually in the game that I just like don't like. I'm actually quite a fan of like all the classes. It's quite well balanced and well designed and things.
Leave nothing unchecked. There is much to be found in forgotten places.
Also lots of like banter between the crew. They're quite fun to watch.
Send these
What's up,
vermin a
Tom?
message. The rightful owner has returned, and their kind is no longer welcome.
Not at all. What you're doing right here is not okay at all. Also, like this whole shooting me with a blunderbuss thing, not okay. I'll smite you. So, what I'm saying is that these guys look like similar. Like, oh, he's got a sword attack. Oh, he's got a knife attack. But they are quite different. Because, like, the open vein here, it's a melee attack, but it also adds bleed to the target. And it also has, like, varying places where you can actually hit. I think it's more restricted to smite. Yeah, it's way more restricted here to smite someone than it is to bleed someone. And what smite also does is a extra damage to unholy. These guys aren't unholy.
Size alone does
They're
not
unholy
dissuade the
bandits,
sharpened blade.
but not unholy skeletons. Ah, this here is a feature that wasn't in the game when I last played. Well, last played. It's bodies. It's a quite controversial one. They don't actually do anything when they are big old cadavers, but they block. So I can't actually knife this guy in the back here. I gotta get rid of this body. It does bleed though. So there are ways to get rid of the body, but you just gotta keep wailing at it. Which annoyed a lot of people. Like before that change, people just disappeared when they died, and they pushed the guys to the front. But now you gotta like use range attacks, hit them in the back, or kill the bodies and push them in front. Because if you look at my abilities here, they can only hit a certain set of tiles, I guess you could say, or positions. So I can only use open vein right now because he's in the front. But if he was in the back, I could pistol shot him. But I also can't do that because I'm in the front right now. So our positions here also matter a lot. Dunk. And that's another thing. This game is very RNG based. It's for better or worse. Sometimes it's really annoying. But other times it can feel really great because you keep high rolling, keep critting, and keep doing well. But as the game says at the start, adventures can fail, or heroes can die. Things can get really great for you, and that's because of the RNG. Let's continue adventuring, yeah, because there's a chest here, but I'm pretty sure it's always trapped. Like, always trapped. And now I'm poisoned. That's just one last middle finger from the tutorial mission there, just to really hammer in how this game feels. Right, treasure! So we get 5,000 gold, we got a bunch of treasures. All our consumables, like food that we didn't use, gets converted to treasure, so we can spend the gold in town. Also, some heirlooms. Heirlooms are the upgrade components we use in town. So we need to store up a bunch of them. And here's how each character is quite unique. These are quirks. So after a mission, you can get a quirk, and it can be good or bad. In this case, we got a good one, because it's you got the yellow lettering. Plus 20% scouting chance in runes, so that's quite good. So now it actually encourages me to bring Dismas to the runes, because he's slightly adept at it. But you can also get negative traits,
such as it is.
And they can be for combat.
These corrupted lands, they are yours now, and you are bound to them.
It's a lot of narration I'm speaking of here. I'm sorry. Yeah, traits can be negative, they can be positive, they can be about just about anything. It could be about the metagame, so that they rest worse or rest better at gambling, or they can be bad for combat, such as you're blinded and miss a lot, or I don't know, you have less health because of the disease, stuff like that. This is me. I'm the caretaker. I inherited this awful house over there from my very, very generous family member, I guess, who fucked up everything and wants to give all of his problems away to me so I can fix it for him. Rude, not okay, but we'll make the best out of it. We'll do everything he couldn't do, right? This time, we'll actually finish the game, right? So we got a bunch of quest goals here that sort of keeps us on track on what we need to do, such as defeat the Siren, the Swine God, the Hag Witch, as opposed to just a hag or just a witch, is the Hag Witch, or the Necromancer. So a lot of scum and villainy we need to sort here before we can. I guess our ultimate goal is to move in the estate. I don't know. I don't really know what the plan is. I don't think it matters. This is a hamlet. This is our base of operations. This is where we recruit, where we gear up our people, where we quote-unquote level them up with their new abilities. There's some shops here. There's rests for our stressed and wounded party members. That sort of thing. So let's start.
Women
by
and men,
recruiting some people.
soldiers and outlaws, fools and corpses.
There we go.
All will find their way to us now that the road is clear.
So now we got 4 party members, and we can now up to 9. And there's a lot of different classes and different characters we can pick. And also we can actually just pick multiple characters of the same class, because they can be quite different. If you look at the Crusader here, it's got 4 abilities, but it's also got 3 extra abilities that we don't have. So it is actually sometimes a reason to have several characters of the same class. For example, the Vestal. She's a healer character, but she also has a bunch of like pretty good offensive abilities. Like the Mace Bash here is pretty much the same as Renel's Smite. Pretty much. It's a tiny bit weaker. And she has like ranged attacks that are quite good. Or the Plague Doctor, who's got a bunch of like poison abilities, but it's also got some nice like bleeds and some debuffs, such as blind, also buffs, such as damage and speed, and some heals as well, I think. Yeah, Battlefield Medicine. It's not very good, but you do have a lot of options with each character. So we should recruit as much as possible in the start, I think. I think so, at least. I don't know. We can actually start by upgrading it if you want to. This is where the components come in. The busts, the portraits, the deeds, and the crests. These are things we get from missions. These are the things I talked about with the Radiant mode. That makes the game quite grindy. Leveling the characters to a certain point. Getting these components to level up all the buildings. It can get quite grindy. And that's also one of the reasons why I think a video format might be a little bit better for Darkest Dungeon, so I can actually do some stuff behind the scenes. So that, you know, the stream doesn't get stale and boring. Let's just upgrade this a little bit. So we get more people to recruit at one time even. So each time we do a mission, this refreshes and we can get more people. We can only like travel with 4 people at a time, but each guy might actually just want to rest in between missions. So it does. It is a good decision to actually have a bunch of people for backup. And later, you don't only have a team A and a team B, but you also have a team C and a team whatever, you know, D, E, F, G, H of the team Z. No, you can't do that many people, but. You do have a lot of teams, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah. As it says there, you can upgrade your roster from 9 to 12, and etc. But right now we have 4 knights, so we don't really need to upgrade the roster. At the blacksmith here. Oh, we can't upgrade our equipment yet at the blacksmith, or abilities at the guild yet, but later we can. But right now we're just saying, go! Buddy, hey pal, how about you just do some missions, eh?
And morbidity. Your work begins.
The usual suspects. So this is how you set up the comp. Right now we just have 4 people and 4 slots, so easy goes. You just slot them down. There is a slight difference though in where you put people. For example. Right now it says the usual suspects, right? But that's good cop, bad cop. And that's because they have slightly different abilities, as I said earlier. Like, it doesn't necessarily mean that I have a different comp now, because right now this is probably the best comp I have. But you can make this mess here to be quite melee based, and that's when you do this. Or you can make the Plague Doctor more supporty and the Vestal more offensive, and do that, red hook. But we don't have the options to shuffle around abilities right now. Actually, before we go, we should actually rename all the characters. So, the Crusader, what do you make him? Trying to rename any characters out of myself right now, because it is the Dent estate, right? So we don't need another Dent yet anyway. So why don't we just make the Crusader here? Let's make him Baron, after our Baron Yump in the stream. And the Highwayman, what do we make him? We make him Colic, right? Welcome to the Hamlet Colic. There we go. And now we have the Plague Doctor and the Vestal. What do we name them? You, Plague Doctor, you can be Isiel. There we go, welcome to the Hamlet. We've got one more. Markmine. Why don't I make you Hipper? There we go. Nice. And we have a little squalid group of adventurers. Let's go. Is it allowed to call someone a squalid group of adventurers? I don't know. Oh, it shuffled all up peoples. Get out of here. Yes, that's perfect, I think. You prefer to be in that slot, actually. You prefer to be in the back. Okay, cool. Do that. Red hook. Nice. Nice. Let's go. And we need to provision our group, of course, with stuff.
Measured now in gold, later in blood.
I tend to be on the safe side with buying stuff, which probably doesn't put me in a great position with gold, because I probably spend a lot more on these things than I necessarily should, but I do feel a lot safer. But it's probably not a good idea, you know. Yeah, let's get some antivenom, let's get some bandages. Let's get one skeleton key just in case. I think this should be fine. Usually it takes like 12 food, which is pretty overkill. Everything else should be fine, I think. 8 torches, 10 food. Yeah, I think this is fine. Let's go. You can take a bunch of other things as well, like the holy water, medicinal herbs. I'm just not very good with them though, because you do need some knowledge about the levels in the game, you know, to use them well, and I don't know exactly what they do, because the game doesn't tell you. So, it's one of those, like, wiki things, you know? Because you can interact with certain things, and the way to get a bonus from them is to interact with them with certain characters and items, and I just don't know. I just don't know what's the right interactions. And, you know, the way to do that, of course, is to just try it. But I haven't played the game a whole lot, so I don't know. So, each enemy is actually quite different as well. I could go for the bleed here, but the enemy is actually, in this case, skeletons and very resistant to bleed. So you should probably like just piss them off. Because it's a bit of lost value, isn't it? Oh, we can't. Okay, we can't. Ah, we can't hit the front row with the Plague Doctor. Ah, okay, cool. But we can emboldening vapors, which increases the damage and speed of a character. It's really good. 20% damage, 25% damage. That's insane. So we can set up a good wombo combo AOE here. What else can we do? We got some damaging spells. We got heal. We got elimination, which is damages and a debuff. Makes something easy to hit, I guess. Yeah. One piece, try for a stun. Dunk! Get stunned on. Boop. Enemies usually have quite, like, you know, fitting names or fun names for their abilities, like Bump in the Night. Sounds like something quite fancy, but it's literally just them clubbing me. Words! Watch them!
A faint hope blossoms.
Here's a unlocked strongbox. What you can do is actually use a skeleton key with the strongbox, I think. Ah, that's the wrong one. Sometimes, I think it's the bigger boxes
Waiting to be spent.
have like hidden compartments that you use the keys for. But it's like I said earlier, like you have to know the interactions, or you just lose the gold is spent on the item.
On preventing passage.
That was rubble in the way there. You lose a lot of stress. You gain lots of stress even if you try digging your way through it. But if you have a shovel, you can use the shovel to get through it. But yeah, it costs gold, and you have to remember to actually get one, or get lucky and find one in the dungeons. Why don't we go for a stun on the back row here? Usually the back row is quite annoying because they focus a lot on debuffs and stress, so while the front row usually tries to kill you with damages. So the way to look at it is that the casters usually make it quite hard to finish the dungeon in its entirety, and also make it a pain in the hamlet to recover your troops. But the front row usually have a lot to say about you actually just finishing the fight. And if you, like, fuck up enough fights, then yeah, you're not gonna be able to finish a dungeon either. Let's go for a plague grenade here. Wow! Try to blight the sorceress. Nice! Quite like the Grape Shot Blast. It's like an AoE ability. It's quite cool as well. Let's try to show them some good words. Good book!
Give them no quarter.
Yeah, stressful incantation even. Fortunately, dodged it. And if you get stressed enough, you get some negative traits to carry through the dungeon and also carry home to the hamlet. So try to not get too many of those on us, otherwise it turns into a pain real quick. I actually don't need to hurt the Acolyte here, because she's got Blight. She takes 4 damage per round, and she's got 3 health, so I can actually just focus on getting this Bone Soldier, but I can't, because I can't hit him. So why don't we embolden someone? Thank you.
Surges as the enemy crumbles.
Nice, and you don't have to kill the bodies. Bodies just disappear.
Foolish horrors. Brought low and driven into the mud.
They're just there to be annoying, you know, so that certain characters can't hit certain rows. Because it's something in the way. Right, so here's something that you get in even the small dungeons and darkest dungeons, is that you have to choose where to go. So right now I need to explore 90% of the rooms. I don't actually have to explore every room, but I can instead choose where to go. And sometimes you get some scouting information, so you can go to an area and for hopes of, you know, avoiding battles or even getting some treasure. Right now I actually know that this place has some treasure, so why don't we go down? It does also say that there's a room battler, but battles are fun.
Finding the stuff is only the first test. Now it must be carried home.
Got a refund on the skeleton key. You might have noticed that I'm actually keeping tabs on the light here, and I keep torching in between rooms. That's because there's certain effects if the dungeons get darker, and certain effects if you keep the dungeons bright. Right now, if you look at the light here, I got Radiant Light, which means I got extra dodge, I got scouting, and I got extra chance for monster surprise. All these things are pretty good. Whoop.
The way is lit. The path is clear.
There's a good reason why I keep doing that, and also a good reason why you keep, you know, wanting to use torches. But there's also, like, you know, challenge runs where you keep the dungeons as dimly lit as possible. And there's negative sides to having the dungeons dark, and there's also like good sides because you actually get more loot and stuff while it's dark. So light is a quite significant mechanic to Darkest Dungeons, actually. Right, this fight. Let's go for the pistol shot, I think. No, grape shot. Grape shot. That's the chest, by the way, I was talking about. We can use a skeleton key for this, and it actually unlocks a hidden compartment. Get Gaston. Blight is really good, and you can also stack it, I think. It really starts hurting. Get healed on. Nice. And as it says there, he was bleeding, so we can use a bandage. Whoop. Get cleaned on. So you can actually use some of the provisions in battle to aid you. Likewise, you can use the anti-venom against poisons, blights, toxins. Ah, stop bleeding us, we don't have 2 bandages. Rude! Might as well use the bandage on that as well. Lighten up the place.
The promise of safety.
I'm not sure what that number means. This is 2 there, but I don't know what that means, honestly. I think you can actually snuff out the light if you click on the torch. I don't have a reason to do that. Might be a reason later, I don't know.
Their formation is broken. Maintain the offensive.
God, that's so satisfying.
Continue the onslaught. Destroy them all.
I obviously took way too much food for this mission, by the way, but you can use some of the food to heal. So, you can't use spells in between battles, which is a bit silly, but it makes sense for game balance. But you can use food. Which has downsides and upsides. The upside is that you get health. But
Ambushed by foul invention.
the downside is that you need food to actually eat. Otherwise you start starving and that stresses you out, you take a bunch of damage. So you can eat, but you probably shouldn't. Unless you have like a lot of food, you know? Nice. I'll take some loot. Dude, look at the food! Alright, see, this is when you start eating. Oh, you can't eat too much though. Like, you can't just keep eating on each character because you go full. There we go, hunger. So, this is something that doesn't really make sense, but when you eat, you still go hungry. So you do need to eat food when there's a hunger event. So, and even the full characters have to eat. Otherwise, they go starving. Which doesn't make sense, but it does punish you in a lot of ways for eating your food. You should always keep like 4 food, I think, for starvation. Yeah, here we go, torch. As you see here, when it gets like shadowy, you actually start getting more stress. Monsters start hitting you more, but you actually get more loot and crits. But, it's better for us to keep it bright. Get shoveled on. Oh, another fight. Oh, I forgot to use the skeleton key, but there's another chest there though. Wait, did I actually... I don't think I actually opened the chest in the other room, did I? I have to check now. I'm pretty sure I didn't bother opening the chest because I was too busy waffling. I do talk a lot. Oh. Let's go for pistol shots on this bone courtier. This is actually another ranged unit. He doesn't have spells, but he's got some really nasty range attacks. So there's 2 examples of range attacks. Like one guy is like out of the way and does a bunch of stress pains. Also another one that's out of the way but also does a lot of damage. They are quite dangerous. Though a plague doctor can actually hit both of them with plague blight. What's funny is that actually our plague doctor uses plague as a weapon. It's quite contrarian to what players actually did, but it's fun. It's good aesthetic. Let's see, what do we do? Probably try to stun the wizard, right? Oh, that's you dead as well. Didn't need to hit that. Let's actually go for smite. Smite does extra damage against undead. The AoE is quite good, but
Great is the
if you
weapon
can't
that cuts on its own.
if you can't kill it, you might as well not fight. Whoa, that's a crate. That's nasty. That's my
at the very
dude at
precipice
Death's
of
Door.
oblivion.
So if they take damage now, they can actually just die. Oh, he recovered. Nice, Kalik. Nice. Alright. So now we should heal him before he actually just perishes permanently.
Death cannot be escaped,
There we go.
but it
He
can
gets a bunch
be
of debuffs now though
postponed.
because he was at Death's Door. But he can't die. He can't die from taking 1 damage now. He always puts him at Death's Door first, and then you roll a die if you actually die from the Death's Door or not. They're quite insistent on killing him, aren't they?
From becoming unwound.
That's a high roll. That's a high roll. Just try to focus down whoever we can now to actually save him. Like, it's better for us to actually kill as many as possible rather than thinning them down evenly, because that's way less damage, right? If you kill 1 guy rather than 3 guys being evenly damaged. So you're a lot more survivable with less amount of enemies. What do we do? What do we do? Probably some more plague grenades, right? Yeah. It's 90% chance to hit the plague. That's like 5 damage then. And try to finish him off with a pistol. That's him dead. Think? No, we just need to do a little bit more damage in this that's him dead. But I think we have to heal a Highwayman. It would suck to lose someone in the first mission. But it can happen. It very easily can happen. I could have rolled poorly there, and I could have just lost my Highwayman permanently. I can get a new one, but, you know, it's kind of like we named him. It's quite sad, you know? And that all happened just because he got crit once. So the tides can turn real quick, just because of a single crit. You almost lost the guy there. And that hurts. That can really hurt. Try to speed up a guy. See if we can deal a death blow before they get a turn. Ah, we got this. Easy. Oh, no. Still up and kicking. Dude, now you're just being petty. Stop that. Nice. We are winners!
This expedition at least promises success.
We should loot firstly, so we can use a scouting key. The chest. Hidden compartment.
If only
More
treasure could
goodies.
staunch the flow of otherworldly corruption.
I have to check quick if there's actually any extra goodies in that room. We have some food in case we go starving. I don't think people like backtracking though, so you gotta be a little bit careful. Because they can get stressed out from backtracking. Also, yeah, they starve, so you gotta have enough food on hand to actually keep adventuring. I might actually have remembered to loot this, but I just got to check. Otherwise I'm gonna go mad in the subsequent missions after, oh my god, on my first mission, I neglected to open a chest! Yeah, you gotta remember to do that. It's trapped! You can't do that, game! Ah, well, that's Darkest Dungeons for you. That's a perfect finale to how dungeons can go. Ah, rip. And if I did bleed there, that could have actually killed my Highwayman. If I looted that box with a Highwayman, it made him bleed, and then he got crit later. It's the butterfly effect there, he could have died. It's actually selling off the stuff we didn't use, by the way, so it's not that bad that we don't use the stuff we buy, because we do sell it. Probably at a lesser value, but we do still sell it. We got a bunch of heirlooms as well. Nice, some experience. Ooh, that's a nice quirk. Plus 3% critical melee skills. That's really good, actually. I love that. Ah, misses the spot. -1 crit. That's not too bad. I don't think you could crit heals. Makes it worse for damage, but yeah, whatever. Warren's Grandeur. 10% scouting chance in the Warrens. That's really good. I love scouting. It helps a lot with deciding where to go. Oh no! Clumsy, that's terrible. Oh, that's terrible! Nice try dodge. You can't get rid of those, and that's actually probably one of the ones I do get rid of. Ooh! Plus 50% healing skills while camping. That's actually pretty sweet, if you have some healing skills, that is. Nice! That's a good start. That's an auspicious start,
In time,
you would say.
you will know the tragic extent of my failings.
Oh! Oh! That's what that means. Over time, some negative quirks will lock into place and become severe. Severe negative quirks cost much more to remove in a sanitarium, so there's actually a good reason why we want to get rid of quirks, even if they're not that bad. But we can't do it right now because we need a sanitarium, and it's not unlocked right now, so we gotta wait a little bit. More dungeons.
Fresh kegs, cards, and curtained rooms promise solace to the weary and broken alike.
Let's recruit some people so we can get the Houndmaster.
A lawman
Welcome.
and his faithful beast.
We can get the
A
Lapper.
bond forged
Welcome.
by battle and
We
bloodshed.
could also get another Vestal. We may as well, because you can just kick them out if we don't want them later, so may as well.
A sister of battle, pious and unrelenting.
Right, let's name our characters then. So, Houndmaster, what do we name you? What do we name you? Calmian. Why not? Welcome to the crew. Also, we've got to actually change the colors of the characters. Should probably do that. Here's a leper. You can be Zimas. Welcome to the crew. And this is a duplicate artist. I'm not too bothered about naming that character. Maybe later. Maybe later. Let's mess around a little bit with our colors here. Baron, you should be a rich purple. I think would be good, or maybe a little bit of this. I think that's the one we had. A little bit of golden, bit of blue. It's quite barony, quite royal. And for a colic, why don't we go with a... I like this one, the default one. Some reds, some blues, some browns. Pretty good, nice. And for Plague Doctor, why don't you go a bit... Ooh, red and yellow. Yeah, let's go with that one. Nice. It's quite striking. For our hippers, why don't we go with... that one. Or... yeah, let's go with that one. Actually, we don't have a lot of greens, do we? Yeah, let's go with that one. That looks good. Oh yeah, I think that's the one we already had. Oh, that's the one you have. Calamir, what color do you get? How about that one? That looks good. Zimas. I like the leper. Leper's really cool. He's a sort of high risk, high reward character. He can crit a lot, but he doesn't do a lot of damage. But if he crits, he does a lot of damage. So his damage comes in waves, you know? Sometimes it's really high, sometimes it's quite low, but it comes back high. It's good. But sometimes it's just all low and you feel miserable. But he's also got some really good self buffs, like Sovereignty, Withstand. I'll really like the Leper. Leper's really good. Let's go with this one, I think. Yeah, that one. Number 2. Great. Did we unlock anything? We got some stress relief. So, our main crew, we got 2 crews now, really. We got almost 2 crews because we got 7 people. But we got some people in the first crew that didn't get stressed much. So, like Baron, for example, can go on a second mission. So, we can put Hipper, for example, in the tavern for some stress relief. Ah, she doesn't like that. She wants to go to the Abbey.
The cobwebs have been dusted,
she can
the
only
pews
flagellate.
set straight. The Abbey.
Yeah,
calls
she's a
to the
flagellant. She can
faithful.
only flagellate. Oh, but the caretaker, well, that's me technically, is currently enjoying this activity, and you can only have 1 guy in at once right now until some upgrades. Actually, that costs a lot of
Playing communion
stuff to
with the
get.
divine.
Yeah, it's number 3
Madness.
to get another slot there. Oh, that sucks. Never mind. We'll need that later anyway. So, that's one of those things that can happen, that can screw you, you know? Like, you need to rest your party member, but you can't. So, it blows. We can send Uziel on some rest somewhere. So why don't we, for example, upgrade the gambling bar? Something with the gambling.
Strong drink, a game of chance,
There we go.
and companionship.
And put
The
Uziel in there.
rush of life.
She's not that stressed, but whatever. Actually, yeah, this is it. This will demo it. And now she's gambling. Right. And I think we'll leave it at that until next time, where we'll do some more Darkest Dungeons. See if we can get to the Darkest Dungeon. And this time, we actually finish this. And the DLC. So I hope you enjoyed that, and take easy. Peace.